Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome in to day 3. Welcome into our YouTube room. Here, day 3 of the Autumn Equinox Sacred Shadow event. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And let me tell you, I am excited to have that Pisces full moon behind me. Did anybody else yesterday feel like life was just a little extra lifey? Or were you feeling good? Let us know in the comments where you were at on the spectrum of all things full moon energy. I have Pisces in my 10th house, and that's the house of career. And so it makes sense for me that we're here together this week and swimming in that Pisces energy. But man, was I feeling it. It was beautiful, though. It was absolutely beautiful. And I'm definitely enjoying the shift to the moon in Aries today. All right. Welcome. I'm Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted. And as I said, this is day 3 of our Autumn Equinox Sacred Shadow event. And we're going to get right into it today. A couple of reminders to get started. Replays are available for you through the end of the month, so be sure to check those out. In full transparency, we are a small business. We're proud to be woman owned and operated. And we have another thing we're really proud of in our courses, our programs that we offer. Holistic Witchery is our baby of a program. Well, it's not, it's like full grown, but we treat it like our baby. And we have a 10 times better than industry average on our course completion rates, which is amazing. And I say this in transparency to remind you and let you know we will open doors for registration tomorrow. So I don't want you to feel like, man, I didn't see that coming. Who are these people to be telling me about something I got to pay for? We are telling you about it right now so that you know. This program is free for you this week, but it is not free for us. So, for full transparency, we never want to sneak anything up on you. Team Sisters Enchanted, they are in the comments today, here to help you out. They are typing their fingers off this week, their witchy, magical fingers. If only they could just wiggle their nose and answer the comments, but they can't. So they're in there helping you out. I'm going to leave the comments to them today, and I'm going to focus on what it is that I am here to do. So you can put some faces to some names. We've got Patty in the house. Patty works in our programs. She teaches in holistic witchery. She coaches in our small group program. She's hanging around our membership. Patty is everywhere. She also works behind the scenes, helping out Naomi, who is in the right to the right of her in this photo. Naomi also works behind the scenes here at Sisters Enchanted. She's in the comments today helping out as well. Patty's on the West Coast in California. Naomi is on the East Coast in North Carolina. Naomi and Patty are both also longtime Sisters Enchanted community members. So they have been where you are, totally new to us, have no idea who is this stranger on the internet, who is this talking to me, and have been here with us for quite some time. We've got Jenna, who is the person answering your emails in the inbox. So if you've had any trouble and you've emailed in, Jenna is the one who is in there helping you out. And I got to say, Jenna takes so much pride in her work, and she absolutely loves getting in there and helping everybody out. So, give Jenna a high five, because the inbox has been hopping and popping, and she is just dancing through those emails and getting everybody where they need to go. Jenna is in Michigan, right, Jenna? Suddenly I'm like, where does Jenna live? Jenna's in Michigan. And we've got Anna. She's my real life sister, and she lives in Connecticut, where I live. And she heads up our student support and delivery and all of that goodness, and co-founder here at Sisters Enchanted. She is in the comments here today as well. Of course, me. We've got Kiara, who I don't think is in the comments, but sometimes she pops in. Kiara teaches in our astrology program and also just comes up to bat whenever we need her for something else. And Kiara has been with us forever and actually worked with us in different capacities before, and is one of the most fascinating and smart people that I know. And then Nick. Nick is our Mr. Enchanted, and he teaches in astrology and wrote the astrology program. So they both teach Kara and Nick in the astrology fundamentals portion of Holistic Witchery, which comes up twice per year. So we're excited to have them whenever they can pop in the comments or just be around. But I do know we've got Patty, Naomi, Jenna, and Anna hanging out here for sure today. So names to faces, everyone's been introduced. I am so lucky to have these folks by my side. I can't even tell you. I bow down to them and all that they bring here at the Sisters Enchanted, to you and to me. This week, one of the things I'm doing is introducing you also to our values as a company and a community. And the reason I am doing this is because we are not for everybody. Not everybody is a right fit for everybody, and that's okay. We hope that you love what we're doing here, but we want you to know everything, like be well informed. So, our number one value is to lead with kindness. It is the one thing we will draw a hard line, be like, we cannot treat people this way if someone is not being kind. When you are in the comments today, all days, every day on the internet, there are comment boxes. Remember that you don't have tone of voice, facial expressions, body language, or background knowledge of the people you're interacting with for the most part. And it does no one any good to, not be the most kind you can be in a comment. Um, we try to avoid advice unasked for, focus on witnessing, being, holding the space, right? Lead with kindness with yourself. If you're feeling overwhelmed, frustrated because you're like, I can't find the link, I can't find the email, I can't X, Y, and Z. Remember, this is a blip in all of your life. We are here to help you. If you email in, we can help you. Team TSE tries to help as best they can here in the comments, but it doesn't mean anything about you if something feels hard today. That's just a thing, that sometimes things feel hard and it means nothing about you. So be kind to yourself and be kind to us here at Sisters Enchanted, please and thank you. Do you know we have about 18,000 people signed up for this event? And while not all 18,000 show up live, thank goodness, that'd be so much energy in one space. There are a lot of email interactions. There's a lot of navigating happening every day, and we're doing the best we can. Our second value that I introduced was to be time intentional. It is your one finite resource. You can get more money, you cannot get more time. So, where you put your time is where your energy goes. It's where your focus goes. It's where your power goes. Be mindful of that. Today, I'm giving you numbers 3 and 4, and tomorrow I'll give you value number 5. Be resourceful and take personal responsibility. So, these are values we use within our company here, but also within our communities. Um, there is an interesting thing that can happen when we remember that we are resourceful people, when we remember that we are smart, capable people, and we take personal responsibility for ourselves. We're going to talk tarot today and we're going to talk about intuition, but I want to talk about this first. When it comes to being a witchy woman and embracing maybe a witchy spirituality practice or using the word witch to describe yourself either in secret or in public, and we can feel really like tingly and jazzed and buzzy about it. And I think it's interesting to note, though, that there's some things that can happen when we start to look at the word witch and use the word witch. There are folks who use tools like tarot and astrology and crystals, people who are getting readings all the time, where it becomes a crutch and a tool for escapism and like, somebody please help me, desperately seeking answers, right? And then there's this other aspect where we really come back to our power. We remove circumstance and stand in our power. And we are the folks here who are in this second area of removing circumstance and standing in our power. There are two truths at the same time here. One truth is that it is very real that for different kinds of people, different circumstances that we find ourselves in, circumstances we're born into, things we have no control over whatsoever. There are circumstances that make it harder for some people to climb the mountain of life. That is true. Fully believe that. It can also be true at the same time that the minute you give your power to circumstance, that's the minute you abandon yourself. The moment you give your power to a circumstance, that is the moment you abandon yourself. both things are true. Folks are born into circumstances that make it harder for them to climb the mountain that is life. And the minute you give your power to that circumstance is the minute you abandon yourself. And when we think about the word witch, we can think about the word witch throughout history and society. And the way we see it here in America this time of year, there's a lot of hocus pocus, practical magic. And don't get me wrong, I fucking love practical magic, hocus pocus. Like I I have my hocus pocus Lego house up here. You can't see it, but I've got my Winifred and Mary and Sarah. They're my little Lego people. Like I love the Halloween witch life and stuff. But when we look historically at the word witch, the people who were um, you know, uh, burned, who were executed for being witches, they were not what we would call a witch. They were people who were used to amplify a circumstance. They were people who were used as scapegoats to give other people power, to give more men in different religious positions more power. Now, this is history, this is anthropology. This is not just what we think of witches on social media or something. Historically, the Middle Ages and the big witch hunts in Europe, these people were not witches. They were by and large women, not always, there were men also, but by and large women who were used to create a circumstance to make people afraid and get in line. So when we use the word witch as people, I hope that you are not coming here to look for somebody to give you another tool for escapism, because I am not that person. You will not get that here. I hope that you are here to reclaim your power, to say, this is a circumstance and I have my power even in this circumstance. And I will cast the future that I want to be living. And I will use these tools that make me feel powerful, that give me depth inquiry, that allow me to pause and ground and center so that I can be the energy that I want to be for the people in my life to cast the life I want to be living. And that is what a witch is. That is a witch, my friend. A witch is not a person who is seeking future answers from some other person. A witch is not a person who desperately reads their tarot cards looking for the way forward. That is not a witch. That is a person who probably needs some support. And we have all been there. I am a person who has needed support. I am a person who has said, someone please help me. We have all been there. This is not a judgment on that. And that's not what we're going to help you with here at the Sisters Enchanted. Not at all. And I fully acknowledge that there are very real circumstances that people are born into. We are born, all of us, born into some circumstance, and some people way more than others. Some of y'all are born into a life where you are walking up the hill of life with a backpack of fucking bricks, and the rest of us have like one brick, right? And it varies per person. And yet, when you give your power to that circumstance, you have abandoned yourself. Hard stop. And that is a hill I will die on. And if that feels like too much for you, if that feels too hard and it feels too aggressive and abrasive, that is okay. We're here when you want to be here with us. All right. So, as we talk about tarot today, I want to be really, really clear about that. And as I share our values as an organization, as a woman-owned and operated organization that works with women, you can imagine the energy gets heightened. The energy gets big sometimes and it gets overwhelming. And like when someone's in a shadow place and the topics we talked about yesterday, it happens. And our values of being resourceful and taking personal responsibility, that's where we come back to our power and we say, this is a circumstance. I am still powerful. I can be powerful, and I will tap into that power just as soon as I get in check with my shadow and channel it into the power instead of letting it erupt like a volcano all over my life. It is your job. Your only job was ever to stay magic. And we're here to help you remember that. All right. So we're clear. That's where we are. Okay. Yesterday, we talked about chakras and shadow. On Monday, we talked about the moon. The medicine of the moon is in its rhythm. And I invited you to consider how you want to feel. That's the first step in working with the rhythm of the moon. How do I want to feel? There are other steps. The one for this week, how do I want to feel? That is the new moon energy. And then what am I going to do to feel that way? Yesterday, we talked about the 7 energy centers, the 7 chakras. If you missed it, watch the replay. It's there for you. I talk a little fast, but if you're a person who thinks fast, put it on high speed, get it done. We talked about the shadow stories that can live in the energy centers. And it is those shadow stories that will stop you from feeling the way you want to feel. It is the shadow stories that you are telling yourself that are running through your energy unchecked that are going to keep you from taking the actions that you want to take. So today we're going to talk about tarot. I'm going to give you a really high level overview of what tarot is if you don't know. The way we teach tarot here is really through developing your own connection with the cards. We are not people who focus on memorization. As a former teacher, I can tell you that memorization is the least desirable way to learn most things, particularly topics where there is an element of personalization. And tarot is very much like that. Now, as we get into this discussion, I said a few minutes ago that tarot, specifically as a spiritual tool, can very quickly become a tool for distraction, escapism, and a crutch. And that is because it is so easy to shuffle your cards and do another tarot spread, to ask more questions, to seek more answers. And really, it's our contention that tarot is best used as a tool to ask yourself questions, to get a new perspective on the situation that you are having. Now, we also love tarot spreads. I write tarot spreads all the time. That doesn't mean don't use them, and it doesn't mean they're bad. And yet, just have the awareness of the energy you're bringing to the practice when you sit down. Am I desperately seeking answers? Have I asked this question 5 times and I'm asking it again? Or are we getting inside of ourselves? Are we growing through the practice of using our tarot cards? The psychic services industry, that would be mediumship, tarot card readings, psychic readings. The psychic services industry in 2023, I believe, was, or 2022, one of those years, 2022 or 2023, was a $2.3 billion industry, mostly from women as the contributors to the receiving the services of that industry. $2.3 billion. That is a lot of women seeking answers, y'all. A lot of women seeking answers. Now, also, and again, I too will get a psychic reading. Like my friend Tracy Bray, she actually, when you register for Holistic Witchery, if it's right for you, one of the classes in there, one of the bonuses is a mediumship magic class written by my friend Tracy, who had her brain studied by the Winbridge Institute to see what made her different, her brain different, her and some other participants. Anyway, so I love getting a good reading with Tracy, don't get me wrong. So there's 2 truths always, right? But that's a lot of people asking questions. And only about 6 to 8% of people will ever reach goals that they set for themselves. So what this tells me is there's a lot of people seeking answers and a lot of people not taking action. And we don't do that here. We align your energy, we align how you want to feel with the action. And then we do our shadow work, we vision for the future. And through that, your intuition expands. So your self trust expands. So you have to ask fewer questions of people external to you, right? You can self source, be resourceful the way forward. And tarot is one of the tools that we use. And tarot can be a really helpful reminder to you and tool to tap back into who you were before you were told who to be. So, tarot as a tool can help you remember who you were before you were told who to be. We were all told who to be, but who were you before that experience? All right, so what is tarot? Again, this is going to be a high level overview. I'm not going to answer every question about tarot. You're not going to know everything about it from here. There's just not time for that. But I am going to get you the basics, and you'll feel, hopefully, I hope you feel confident picking up a tarot deck if you never have before. So I've got mine over here. so I can tell you a little bit about it. I got my first tarot deck in Disney World. It was not the Disney tarot. Sometimes the villain, sometimes that gets misconstrued. But I was at Disney World on a school band trip. Your girl played trumpet. I also can play piano, though I'm a little rusty on piano. I am exceptionally rusty on the trumpet. And last time I tried to do one, I know all the finger positions, but I couldn't make the noise, right? But I was in Disney World on a school band trip, and I went to a villains store and bought a tarot deck that also came with a little palm reading book. I still have it. I should have got it down. It's on a shelf across the room, so I can't get it. But and that was my first tarot deck. And I have been reading tarot ever since, with ebbs and flows in my early 20s where I didn't read it. And then I came back to it again. And, anyway, I was one of those in high school, hiding my tarot deck under my mattress because now it's cool. Then it wasn't. Then it was weird. then it was strange and you were the weird person. But now you can buy a tarot deck like at Target. So, all right. The tarot deck is made of two different elements, basically. The one being the major arcana. So the major arcana is a 22 card portion of the tarot deck, and it tells the story of the fool's journey. So the fool is card 0, and this journey ends with the world, which is card 21. And through this experience, the fool's journey, the fool is born into the world, speaking like metaphorically speaking, and has all the tools the fool needs within it to succeed. The fool meets its authority figures, enters society, makes choices, has to go back within again. And it really tells the fool's journey the highlights of life experiences that we all have. So we all have moments where we crash and burn. We all have moments where we have to pause. We all have moments where everything is chaotic, but then there's hope on the other side. And the major arcana tells that story. So this major arcana, it is representative of big themes in our lives. It is representative of like longstanding foundations, bigger sort of work to be done, not really spur of the moment. I can make this change today. Bigger reflections in your life. And again, this is very overarching. Tarot is a beautifully in-depth tool that you can have a very personal connection with. But that is one element, the major arcana. Now, the other element of the tarot deck is the minor arcana. And the minor arcana is made up of 4 suits. And the 4 suits align with the 4 elements. So you have the pentacles, which aligns with I gotta find there's some light, which aligns with the element of earth. And the pentacles walks us through the journey of behavior, what we're doing, what we're taking action on. But it's also a reminder, the pentacles, that progress action is slow and steady. It is not something that happens overnight. So when we pull a pentacles card, an earth card, we are reminded of the lessons of the earth, that a tree doesn't become 40 feet tall overnight. That takes time. It takes tending. It takes focus and trust, right? And like the right resources to make it happen, and trusting those resources. And so we can see that in the suit of pentacles. There is the suit of swords, which is aligned with the energy of air. And the suit of swords is arguably the most confronting of the suits when it comes to the imagery. You'll see like this nightmare card. The Three of Hearts is Three of Hearts. The Three of Swords with the sword stabbing through the heart is pretty classic swords imagery there. The 10 of Swords is never anyone's favorite, but the sword stabbing someone in the back. But the thing about air and the thing about swords is that it's representative of your thoughts. And while it's really in the quiz, we had like a poll in the YouTube community area where you could take some polls over the last couple weeks. And I think swords was the least favorite. But I will tell you, swords is where you will find the most lessons. You want to do a crash course on how your thoughts are negatively impacting your life? Lay out the suit of swords and ask yourself, what am I thinking that makes me feel like this? The swords is your thoughts. So, where pentacles is how you're moving through the earthly plane, your behaviors, swords is what you're thinking, and will be reflective of how your thinking is contributing to the world you're living in. And then we have the wands, which is a fire suit. And the wands, one of the ways I like to think about the wands is that they represent, this is not everybody's way to think about the wands, mind you, but representing experience. So the wands are, with fire, we look at shadow work, we look at transformation. Um, we look at summer kind of energy, like it's bright. And the thing with wands, though, is at the beginning of the wands suit, everything is sort of steady. You've got a figure just kind of looking out over land. This idea of like, what am I going to do? Adventures to come, maybe. The world is your oyster. We've even got a marriage card. Then we have the Five of Wands, which is the least clear conflict card. All of the fives demonstrate a conflict. The Five of Wands is the one that is least representative of a very clear conflict. Like, are these people how are they just gridlocked? Are they actually like stick fighting? It's hard to tell, right, from the imagery. But then after that, we have the six, and the seven starts to get hard, the eight. We end up with these 9 and 10 experiences that very clearly are not pleasant to the eye when you look at the imagery. And I think what that can remind us of with wands and experience and fire energy and taking action is, how are we experiencing circumstances? Are we getting so swept up in it that what seems like, oh, I'm being helpful, I'm being, this situation is good for me. And how does it suddenly turn to overwhelm? How do you suddenly lose your zest? And now it's like you feel like you're lugging a whole thing of sticks up a mountain by yourself when just a minute ago it felt really good. That is how quickly shadow can come in. That's how quickly fire can switch from nurturing to uncontrollable, right? And wands reminds us of that things can feel really good and promising and steady, and then suddenly they're not. And that is the check for us. How are we experiencing? How much of ourselves are we putting into the experience, and what pieces of ourselves and why? And so the wands can be helpful in that sort of inquiry. And then we have the cups, which is the water suit, aligned with the energy of autumn, which is the season that we are in now. And autumn, it describes and talks about emotion. So our emotional body, how are we feeling? What's going on emotionally, internally for us? So where pentacles is more external world, swords is your thoughts, wands is your experience, kind of your zest for a situation, and whether the fire is in check or out of check. And then we have the cups with our emotional body. And so, with the major arcana and the minor arcana, we can get this really cool kind of picture of a perspective of our day or a situation, or just if you've got thoughts on your mind and you just pull 3 cards and think about the thoughts in a different way. There is a misconception with tarot that you have to memorize the cards or that you have to use a tarot spread. And one of my most favorite ways to read tarot is simply to pull cards as an invitation to think about my situation in a different sort of way. So if I'm feeling like, man, I feel really overwhelmed with this problem, pull 3 cards. What is a way to think about it that I haven't thought of before? What are the cards making me think about in a different way? And in that way, we are really using the cards for our own depth inquiry, for our own power. We're getting present in ourselves, present in our thoughts, and we're building self-trust, as opposed to using the cards to look for an answer or to look for a future resolution, right? which isn't wrong and it's not bad. Simply, I think we have more power when we use the cards for this depth inquiry work, getting present in our thoughts. What aren't we seeing about the way that we are thinking right now? All right, we're going to do our activity today, and I want everybody to take a deep breath because this activity does, if you're a perfectionist, if you are a person who maybe has a lot of Virgo energy, if you know your expansion archetype, which is one of the models we teach here, if you're a mapper, this can be a little hard, but we're going to do it. I have faith in you. I'm going to put up a slide and we're going to do the activity that is in your workbook. But first, I want to just share this with you. This is from Brittany S. And Brittany shared with us about holistic witchery. Before joining, I struggled with guilt, pain, and fear, often starting projects but never finishing them. How many of us can relate to that? The program helped me gain confidence in myself, both professionally and personally, and embrace my identity as a witch. Through guided meditation, chakra work, and intentional living, I've noticed significant positive changes in my life, from career growth to improved health and spiritual fulfillment. The community and teachings have truly transformed my life, making me excited for the future. And I'm always excited for the future if you can't tell. All right. So, Holistic Witchery does open tomorrow. Gotta get that plug in there. Here is our activity for today. This is the Empress card. Uh actually it's the number 3 in the major arcana, but it's the 4th card in the major arcana. So we have 0 is the Fool. That is like somebody totally green, totally new to an experience. Then we have 1, which is the Magician. That's the reminder that we are connected to all it is. We have all the tools within us that we need. We're born with them. We're born magic. And then we have number 2, the High Priestess, which is your inner knowing. It's your intuition. And then, of course, we meet the Empress, and then we meet the Emperor. But we start with the Empress. And the Empress here for our activity, we are going to use this card to do 3 different things. I invite you to the first activity, look at this card and give yourself a message from the card. If you're a person who's like, oh, I do this all the time, Sarah, however you would receive a message, do that. But what is a message that this card has for you? Now, here is how we make a personal connection with tarot. We look at the imagery of the card. We look at the colors. We look at the characters. Where are they facing? Are they looking at you, looking away from you? Here we see some water. We see the crown of stars. This character is holding a scepter. This character has a dress with what looks like fruit on it, maybe pomegranates. We see the Venus symbol on a heart. There's some green in the front, red cushions. What message would this card give to you? There is no way you can get it wrong. No way. So for the perfectionists in the house, there is zero way you can get it wrong. I promise you. There is 0 chance you'll get it wrong because the message is unique to you. So right now, what is a message this card has for you? And I see some sharing in the comments already here. I will give an example, but I want to give a minute for just like 30 seconds for everybody to get their own before I interject my example. Do it first. You know, get your own message. All right. So I see some coming through. I did this before we got started, so I'd have an example to share. And the message I took just looking at it, and again, I've been doing this for years and years and years, too many years. I got lots of gray hairs that you just can't see on this camera, but they're there. I've been reading for years. And I wrote down, you could be nurturing and a firm leader. That was the message I got from this today. And those of you who know tarot know that that is not necessarily fully aligned even with the textbook meaning of the card, but that was the message I took from it today. All right, we're going to move on next to the question part. Now, this can be the most challenging for people because it's a new way of thinking. And anytime we have a new way of thinking, it's hard for us. My husband and I, we have this big fifth wheel RV. We are RV people. We travel quite a bit. And we went to a campground we've been to for years at the same campsite. We always book it in advance the year before. and they had put up a pole. In our old way of backing in, we couldn't do it. And we were both so flustered, so mad at the campground. But it's because it's like we had to do something new that was uncomfortable. We had to go a different way, right? So now I'm asking you to do something you've never done before, which can feel uncomfortable. With this card, I want you to look at it and receive or write a question as if the card is asking you the question, not a question you're asking the card. Now, this is what makes this different. We often ask questions of our tarot cards. I want you to allow the card to ask you a question. So if the card were to ask you a question, what is the question the card is asking you right now? And again, you can't get it wrong. Like, there is not a right answer. There's no answer key in the back of the of the workbook. So just deep breath, exhale. What is the question that it's asking you? Okay, I see some coming in. Love it, love it. Yeah. Oh, so good. Okay, my example one is, I had 2 actually. They came up one after the other, so I wrote them down. Why aren't you standing your ground? And when will you know it's time to rest? When will you know it's time to rest? And why aren't you standing your ground? So I had 2 different, they just came right in one sentence. Okay. So we've received a message, we've let it ask us a question. I hope that you can see how powerful these exercises can be for you. Like, you all are asking yourselves very powerful questions right now that you have the answers to within you. When you use your self-trust, you know how you want to feel. You know what to do to feel that way. You know the shadow stories that are holding you back. You know the energy keeping you stuck. And now you're asking yourself some really, really good questions. You're changing your life by and you're this is witch energy right here. This is it. This is your power. You're in it. You've been initiated. It's all here right now. All right, our last question. This is one of my top ways that I love to use tarot is to ask the question, who am I today? And then sometimes I will look through the images and actually choose a card. Like if I need a lot of strength, I might pick the strength card. Or if I'm like going to celebrate, maybe the 3 of cups, right? And sometimes I will just intuitively choose a card. I'll shuffle them, intuitively choose one. And then I have some reflection on who I am. So who am I today? Who are you today when you look at this card? Who are you today? Who am I today using this card to answer that question? Use this image to answer the question, who am I today? It's different also. It's not a typical way of thinking. I love when I pull like the tower for that question. And I think it's a power shift because if you say, what do I need to know about today? And you pull the tower card, which is like a tower being hit by lightning, people are jumping out of it. I think you can say, if you say, what do I need to know? It puts you on guard for the day. But if you say, who am I today? It brings the power back to you to say, like, man, I best not be the chaos today. I best not burn things down that don't need burning down today. It puts the power back in you. All right. So the question for who am I today? I literally wrote this down. I am a fucking goddess. That's what I wrote down. And then you can't see it, but I have on like a skirt that makes me feel goddessy in my goddess vibes today after doing this exercise myself. All right. So that is the activity. You are a tarot card reader. Some of you have already been doing this. Some of you walked in here today knowing nothing about tarot. And just like that, I made you a tarot card reader. Like, these are great exercises you could do with any of the cards, and you can do them right now without knowing any of the card meanings or trying to memorize them. And I hand to heart promise you, if you tap into your connection to the cards first, and then secondarily read the guidebook, like what are the key words? Do that secondarily, not primarily. You will feel more confident, intuitive, self-trusting, and in your magic than if you just try to read the guidebook and get it right and do a card spread. Promise you. I promise. We've taught tarot to thousands of people, very literally thousands, and I know this for sure. All right. So why is this helpful with our autumn equinox uh, sacred shadow event. I've been talking about these last few months of the year and how our shadow selves can really come out this time of the year, particularly this year for reasons we don't all need to discuss. But we all know early November we're all gonna be like on a shadow energy, no matter who you are. There's gonna be some energies. It's the Thanksgiving holiday. We've got Christmas. All of these things come with expectations from family members on us. And then we have expectations from people. Don't pretend like we don't. The expectations you set for yourself to show up a certain way, the resolutions you set at the beginning of the year that now you didn't meet, and you've got to resolve that within yourself. You got to reconcile all of this as we step into the dark months of the year. And that can pull you away from your centeredness, your heart, your truth, your power very, 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 very quickly. And so using tarot can help you to cut through the noise that is brewing in your head, in your mind, and come back to yourself. What is the message? What am I like? What question can I ask about this? And who am I? What can I be aware of today? So, tarot can really help us to cut through all of the energies, get present. Intuition grows through intention. Intuition does not grow through practicing more intuition. Intuition grows through intention and being present. And that is not what people think. They think I just need to practice more to be more intuitive. No, get more present, get more intentional. How do I want to feel? How am I living that intention? And that's how your intuition grows. And tarot can be of that, though, for sure. All right, I'm going to give you the spell of the day. And Anna also asked me to uh, go over the suits one more time. I believe is yes. Can I go over the tarot suits and seasons quick? Yes, I can do that. I'll give you the spell of the day, and then I will give you a once through of the suits one more time. The spell of the day is I embody self-trust. I embody self-trust. We don't take points off for spelling. So I embody self-trust. That's the spell of the day. You're going to enter that on the page where the bonus worksheets are. You've got your 13 shadow reframes, your the Persephone Stay Magic issue, other goodness that the transition from summer to autumn guide is on there, your replays. That's where you're going to enter the spell of the day. You can type it here. I love to see it too. I embody self-trust. Real fast before we head out of here, the 4 suits of tarot, I'll say them slow, succinct in case you want to write it down, catch it on the replay. The suit of pentacles, aligns with the energy of earth, and the season is winter. Pentacles, earth, winter. I should make a song. Pentacles, earth, winter. I should not make a song. The next one is swords. Swords aligns with air and spring, the season of spring. Swords, air, spring. There you go. Swords, air, spring. All right. We've got wands, I can't say it. Wands, summer, fire. Wands, summer, fire. And I do see the page when you enter it says processing. Yeah, there's just so many people doing it that would be why it's processing. But the software does capture it. It's very, very good software. Wands, summer, fire. And then cups is autumn and water. Cups, autumn, water. And these are all the minor arcana. Pentacles, swords, wands, cups, minor arcana. All right. All right then. So excellent. I love talking tarot. It was my love language, my portal into the wild world of witchery. And it is for so many people. So It is one of my love languages. All right, then, everybody, that is it for today. Tomorrow, we are going to talk about the four elements: earth, air, fire, and water. And we are going to talk about how we can use those in a magical practice. And that'll be the fourth and technical final day of the event. Though we do have the bonus event. We're doing an autumn equinox ritual on Sunday. So make sure you have your links all in a row for these things. And if you need help finding anything, don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. And that is going to be it for today. All right, y'all, if you're in the VIP portion, we're going to head on over there. So head into the class site to get your link if you need it. And everybody else will see you back here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time on YouTube. And check your inbox because we are opening doors for Holistic Witchery in the morning for a few days as we get ready for our next rendezvous through, that's not the right word, but anyway, through the witchery portion of the program, which we do in the spring and the fall. All right, everybody, that is it. We will see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.